Well, good day, brothers and sisters. It's April the 16th, 2024. Um, I think after a little observation, I think people are a little apprehensive about striking, and it can be a bad experience for some people. But let me tell you, when I started work, I came from all kinds of different union jobs. I was a bouncer. I worked in a supermarket. I was a telemarketer. I mean, probably just like you. But when I worked in a union place, I didn't have a union that looks after you, and they say you call me when you got a problem. They don't come and ask you if you want to go, put something up on a board. I never found a bulletin board in any of the unions I was in. Food workers, steel workers, who knows where the hell it was. Nobody ever told me. So I come in just like you. Come in, put my head down, knew nothing about the post office. And all I knew was the union, and it had good benefits and that sort of thing. So that's probably the same as you too. You wanted a job for the benefits, and you heard, wow, they're pretty good, but you earned them. Like over the years, if you see someone that's no matter what group you're in, whether you're in a union or whether you're in a LBGQ, I think LBGTQ, any of those groups, any group, even seniors group, somebody fought and took a beating for the rights you have today. No matter what it is, look at the history of stuff. I mean, April 28th, April 27th. Oh man, it's a bad day for me. Around April 27th, the day of mourning, I think. It's 28th. I got it written down. Anyhow, that day there was lots of people that's represented on that day, and there's people in Campbell River and Ladysmith and Nanaimo, all these coal miners that took a beating. A lot of them were shot by a private company that these coal companies hired. So you didn't get these rights and benefits because of Canada Post loved you and they love paying their employees. They were fought for. So anyway, having said that, I come in with my head down and I'm working away, and I see a lot of nasty things about people that wanted time off because my wife just called and my brother died or my brother-in-law died or whatever it was. And they say, well, will he still be dead at the end of your shift? And of course, the person said, I'm leaving anyways because you can't tell me what to do with a bereavement. So anyhow, that's what I witnessed many times over, all those kind of snarky remarks. And there was a bunch of do-nothing supervisors that didn't supervise. They were just there to jam it to you. That's all they were there for. They were just annoying, stirring the pot. A lot of them were carriers and clerks that couldn't handle a job and decided they'd go take the free ride with more money and that sort of thing, and a little easier on the body. Not easier on the mind, but easier on the body. So anyhow, here we are. I was there 33 years. I was in. Now they say, the public says, oh, they're on strike all the time. Think about it. You're not on strike all of you. There may be lots of Canada Post talk about it or the union talk about it, but actual strike, not that many during my time. And I was there a long time. There might have been 6 or 7, and that's it. They make it sound like every year there's a strike. Well, there's not. Anyhow, right now you're in front of two doors. You're damned if you do and damned if you don't. So one advantage you have right now is you know what Canada Post is offering. You know what the worst could be. That's what you know. And you have a good union. Cup W has good reps, good education, good national officers. The structure of the whole thing is wonderful. I've never been in a union like that before. So you don't have to walk around like a chicken with their head cut off. You already know what's coming, right? And you know what the union wants to do. So you kind of get it in your mindset, okay, this is the worst that's going to happen. So I can only get better from there, right? So if you think, well, we'll take this now, they want to take a two-tier, I think the next one is the two-tier pension or something. There's always a scheme with these guys. They don't stop. So there's a two-tier let's say, pension system, so they want it, right? You think you're going to get that back? Whatever you're doing today, whatever you're doing, that will be the rest of your working years at Canada Post, because you're creating your own, shall we say, work environment, collective agreement. It's yours, not mine anymore. It stopped being mine the day I left. And I could see it gradually changing. And you have to accept those changes because that's the will of the majority. So if the will of the majority wants a two-tier pension system, then that's the will of the majority, and that's the way our union works. So this is where the problem comes in. You think, well, okay, I can't afford it this year, but maybe next year things will be better, or the year after, so then we can go for it. They're not going to give it back to you. I have never heard of anything they gave back to you after they took it from you. There's a reason they took it. So they even fought for, I don't know, 20 years on paying the office workers equal pay as women in the workplace. And they kept challenging it through the federal government. So don't think you're going to get, well, let's just take it for now and deal with it later. You're not going to deal with anything later. It's going to take you forever, maybe 2 or 3 generations of postal workers to even talk about it, because Canada Post has no interest in it. So this is what you have to get in your head. Stick close to your union. Be good to your reps. That's always the important thing I say, is be good to your reps. I was a rep. As a matter of fact, one thing, when I left Courtenay, British Columbia, they gave me a wonderful jacket. Everybody, not from the union, from the work floor, for the work I've done for them. A very expensive molten, I think they call it molten leather, with the leather sleeves and everything. Beautiful jacket. That was given to me by the members out of their own pocket. And they took me out for dinner, my wife and I out for dinner. We had a great time. So, you know, if you allow your shop steward to do what he's supposed to do without people sniping from the sides with remarks and everything else, shop stewards, regional reps, national reps, they're all wonderful people. And your shop steward is a volunteer. So how do you think you're going to keep a good volunteer if he walks into the office every day and you're calling him names or making inappropriate comments and that sort of thing? So be nice to those people, because they're the ones that are going to lead you during a strike, because there will be a strike by the looks of it. The Canada Post is not going to give in to what the union wants. They never do. But you always, why would you shoot for the moon and take nothing? You got to shoot for the stars and take the moon. So that's what Canada Post is doing. So they're going to meet somewhere in the middle there, I'm sure. But this is not new. This is not new. And you got to learn to relax. I mean, you know what's coming. So it's not as if like, oh my God, they just told me on Friday this is happening. No, you've known this for a long time, where it's heading. The union keeps you informed. You were part of the negotiations, because they asked you, for your input from the locals, from the region, and then it was all compiled into national. So, I mean, it's like you were part of it if you wanted to be. If you chose not to be part of your union activities, that is your problem. But even for negotiations for your constitution, any rules in the constitution you don't like, if you're not participating in it in the local with the suggestions, the region with the conference, and then at national at the convention every 4 years, then too bad for you. You're not part of it, you have no interest in it, and you don't want to understand it. So that's where you end up. Anyhow, I just thought I'd say that. I don't want to take too much of your time. I just want to say that because there's a lot of great people working at the post office, and there's a lot of people that think, well, I like the pay and everything, but I really don't like everything else. Well, guess what? Everything else is part of your job. Look in your collective agreement, look in your constitution, everything just weaves in together. Everything weaves in together. And if you don't know your rights, they will squash you like a bug. If you don't know your rights and you just kind of shuffle along, do you mind your own business, they will step all over you. And then when you're mean to people you work with, those people won't come to your rescue when you have a problem. So that's what solidarity is all about. An injury to one is an injury to all, and that is a fact. And there are other carriers that say, well, I guess if I end up doing something dumb and by running or whatever I'm doing, walking in front of cars while you're crisscrossing, and you say, well, that's okay, I'll just go in and take a clerk's job. Well, clerk's jobs aren't that easy either, and as a matter of fact, that's not an easy avenue to affect somebody's transfer because you chose to do something else that you shouldn't have been doing. So there's a lot of things, there's a lot of education courses, but what I'm going to say to you is one of the really good ones, if you're a carrier, and the clerks seem to know this stuff, carriers, try and get in or have your local organize a route measurement educational. You would be surprised how little you know about it and how a little thing can affect a whole lot. An example, let's say a personal contact, you know what those are, so everybody, sign fours, I guess you call them. There's a set amount for those, and they're averaged how many pieces over your volume count, right? So let's say you average 5, and let's say they give you a minute each or maybe 3/4 of a minute or whatever. That is until the next restructure. It's not based on how much mail you had in a day. So before they build your route, they're taking all these personal contacts and things that are worth 100% value, because they can't say, well, stairs are 100% value. No, because you don't go up all your stairs all the time. So you get to the route measurement course and you go, oh, now I get it. But you can't just snipe from the sides thinking you know everything about route measurement and, oh, they got it better in the States and they got better here. But you're kidding yourself. So what I'm going to suggest you, I think I've suggested it before, take your collective agreement and read one article a day. You don't need to know anything about Article 9 because that's a huge one. Article 9 is grievance, and once you put in your grievance, like the supervisor threatened me based on my color or whatever it was, or my sexual orientation, then once you've put that grievance in with your shop steward, that grievance then becomes property of the union. So you need to know, if you want to read it and find out how it goes, is totally different. But if you think that's going to help you file one, it doesn't. What helps you file one is a good shop steward. So I would say just relax, just relax. And what the boss likes, they like very much, as people on the floor that call their shop steward names or slam the union, call them a bunch of lazy bastards in the national office and all that, because you never see them. You know why you don't see them? Because they work 6 or 7 days a week, all evening hours. They're all over the place, doing stuff for you for a wage that's just a little bit more than what you're earning. You probably earn more than them when you factor in all your other perks that are with it. So, yeah, I think be nice to everybody that's looking after you, because you're in another ball game here. You're not in food workers where they give you a wage and all this benefits and this sort of stuff, and you never see your stop steward, because what do you got to complain about? Right? You're not in a confrontation with nasty supervisors or anything. You might have an overbearing manager, but you can usually deal with those. But you don't have them. But at Canada Post, it seems to be a sport. Some guy that worked with you for 20 years can go in supervising and come to become the biggest jerk in about 2 days. So I would say respect all your union reps, because they are there to help you. And the one in your office, they work for free. They're putting in their time for you, not for them. They know how to look after themselves. They're shop stewards. They can look after themselves. They don't need to look after you, right? They don't go running to you when they have a problem. You go running to them. So here's another thing before I cash out here. When they say, well, the union only looks after people in trouble. Well, that's what the collective agreement is. If there's any kind of trouble, like suspensions or whatever else, that's the only time you're really, unless you want information, that's the only really time you get involved with your union as that sort of deep, heavy stuff. So yeah, it looks like they're always looking after people that are in trouble. Yeah, they basically are. You get in trouble, where are you going to go look? You're going to go to the boss and say, let's smooth this over? You're not going to smooth anything over. You go to your union rep. So that's an illusion that Canada Post played on you. And one time in, I think it was 1990, I think it was around then, When CUPW was buying a building in Ottawa, they got a good deal from another union on a building which is cheaper than the rent they were paying, the mortgage on it. So now I think it's fully paid now. But the mortgage on it was cheaper. So what they had to do was take money out of the fund, union fund, to buy a union building, and they borrow it from the fund and they put it back later, which they did, right? So the supervisors were going around telling people, your union's out borrowing money from the bank. Did you know that? And everybody's all worked up. Damn union, damn union. They didn't have a clue. They just joined in with the boss. Just like when you slag your shop steward, the boss joins in. Yeah, that's right. To hell with the union. By the way, we're going to cut your jobs. So be careful what you're doing. Stay away from supervisors. Sometimes stay away from them if you're looking for advice because they're full of it, but not advice. So anyhow, sorry if I rambled on, but sometimes some guys need a little bit of a sort of pep talk. Keep it in mind, back of the head, the worst you already know is going to happen. That's it. Work backwards from there. Anyhow, have a nice day, and solidarity to all, and good luck with your activities.